Aloha and welcome. My name is Geralyn St. Joseph, and this is Mystery, Mystics, and Metaphysics, along with relationship empowerment meetups. And today we're talking about your relationship with money. Falls under both because it's an energetic kind of thing, but it's also a relationship thing. Today, what we're going to talk about is how your relationship with money, or how you feel about money, the way you handle your money, how that affects you in several different facets of your life. It affects your relationships with others, especially if you have a spouse or a partner. It affects the way you treat yourself. And it's a big part of self-care that we often don't, excuse me, we often don't think about. So let's dive in. When I'm talking about your relationship with money, what I'm talking about is basically the way you feel about money emotionally, and also how you interact with money. So your relationship with money is akin to your relationships, period. We think of money as an inanimate object, but money is energy. And as energy, we can either pull it towards us, we can be in the middle, or we can push it away. Oftentimes, we are being that that attachment style that is called avoidant with money. Most people are avoidant because they have some kind of underlying fear that they have having to do with either handling money or having money or what money means to them. Money can be anything you think of as having value in the world. So it's not just value to you, it's not sentimental value, but it's value as in you could trade this with somebody else in order to help pay the bills. There are so many sayings about money. And I want you to take a moment. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can pause the tape and write down any types of little keywords or anything that comes up for you regarding money. I'll start. Money is the source of all evil. Whether you believe the saying or not, just write down every saying that you can think of and put it in the comments. I certainly hope we gave you enough time to be able to write down the different things that come to your mind when you think about money and the different phrases you've heard to discuss money. We're going to get into that further. But right now, what I'm going to do is we're going to look at a little document that I made. No, what are you doing? Okay. And you guys will be able to laugh at the bottom one because it is going to be very apropos for what you're seeing here, because I'm really getting frustrated with this. Okay. So some of the things that you guys said was there's always enough to get by and not enough to get ahead. I think that's a very common thought process. Money makes the world go round. Money can afford you the chance to be free to follow your dreams. People with money are not nice. Another one of those is people who have a lot of money are greedy. People only get money through greed. That goes along with money is the root of all evil. People become obsessed and allowed to affect their relationships. Money is an opportunity to reach goals and help shape the future. Money is love. Money is safety. Money is fun. Money is useful. Money is always running away. especially the lack of it and sharing it. So money can buy you tech support. And that's funny because I'm having a heck of a time tonight. And then we had one more from Allison. Can you put that one back in, because it popped up, now it's gone, and I don't want to share everybody's names because that's what we were trying to avoid. So when we think about money in those terms, a lot of what you guys said was positive, which shows that you've already worked on this a little bit at least. Money comes and goes. Yes, money comes and goes. As fast as it comes in, it goes out faster, things like that. Thank you very much for adding that. What we have to also consider is, like, in our family of origin, the people that we were born to this time around, or in this carnation, or however you want to couch those terms, whether you believe in past lives or not, in our families, how do we see money affecting our family? Like, as we grew up, were there things that your parents told you? Were there things that you saw from your parents that made you feel that money would always be there and things were very stable? Or did you have an upbringing where you felt like there was a lot of lack? Write down in the chat the different types of stories that you have around money. That are affecting you. So one person was saying that one parent hid money from the other in order to keep that person entrapped, basically, or keep them with them. Another one is that there were people on the outside, it looked like we were wealthy and it was great. I used to say that we looked like the Brady Bunch. Whereas on the inside, that's not really what was going on behind closed doors. So to them, it was important to appear as if you had money, even when you didn't. Some of us didn't have a lot. Some people went through feast and famine, and I missed one of those. So if I missed you, put it in again so I could see it. And yes, that people with money can be very controlling. So there might have been someone in your family who used money as an excuse to control everything. Some people's parents made and lost hundreds of thousands, millions, a lot of money. And sometimes we see our parents as they get older, maybe they had a lot of fun when they were younger and did a lot, but then as they got older, it became more and more difficult for them to maintain their lifestyle, and they ended up having issues. So that's something else to look at. My mom, always told me that if it's something that you really, really want and need, you'll find a way to do it. That there's always a way, no matter what is going on. So I grew up in a middle-class family, South Philly, 5 kids, and we took care of my older cousin, and we took care of foster babies. So the house was always full, not a big house. And my father worked his butt off, and my mom did too, inside the home and at school. And somehow my parents figured out a way for us to go to Catholic schools. So we got a really good education, and to go to prep schools, especially my older brother and I, we were the first 2. And they sent us to very elite prep schools. And then when I was in college, I actually paid less to go to college than I paid for my high school. And I will be forever grateful to my parents for that, for doing that for me, because my father at times worked 3 jobs. And then when I was in high school, my mother also started working outside of the home, taking care of an elderly gentleman. So it takes a lot. What I saw was that if you have a goal and you work towards it, it's attainable. That's what I got from that. I also got that you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So do what you can today because nobody knows what tomorrow is going to bring. Now, with those things in mind, I want you to think about these different words that I'm going to say. And as I say them, I want you to feel it in your body and how your body reacts to them. Once you have an idea of what that is, I want you to write it in the chat or write it in the comments. Okay. All right. So take a deep breath. Release slowly. We're going to do that one more time. Take a deep breath and release it slowly. Very good. Now I want you just to feel it in your body. Wealth. I am wealthy. Wealthy people are. Wealth. Okay. Now take a deep breath and relax. We're going to clear that one out. And we're going to move on to the next. Take a deep breath and relax. Okay. Poor. I am poor. Poor people are. Poor. Okay. I think I got everybody. So take a deep breath and relax. And again. Abundant. Ooh. I am abundant. Abundant people are. Abundance means. Abundant. I am abundant. Abundant people are. Abundance means abundant. Okay. And if you need extra time, just pause the video. I like a lot of what I'm seeing. And we will go through that after we get through the rest of the words. Take a deep breath and release. We're resetting our bodies. And again. Relax. Lack. 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 I feel lack. People with a lack consciousness are. Lack is. Lack. Okay. Now let's take a deep breath and clear that one out because that feels icky to me. Take a deep breath. And again. Okay. While going through this, were there any other words that you feel we should look at? Just write it in the chat or in the description below. Not description, thing below. Anyway, I'm having a day. And I'm going to pause so that we can pick everything up and bring it to you on screen. So let's look at some of the things that we came up with. And of course, if you're watching this later, or if you wanted to do this a second time, there are so many different things that could happen that you could add, I'm sure. So here we go. All right. So the first word I said was wealth. And the feelings and the things that came up with that word are my father hid money from my mom, so she couldn't leave him. So it's a sense of control, appearing very wealthy from the outside. And these are things that I had mentioned before. Money was my father's motivation and cause of his lifelong hate of his own father. That will be an interesting one to dig into. How money, well, we say money corrupts people, but it really doesn't corrupt people. Money brings out what's naturally there. So people who are very money grubby and greedy and don't they feel like they can't share anything. I mean, I feel sorry for those people because they don't understand what that relationship needs to be, but that's why we're here today. So but it does bring out the way the person actually is, because if you are a generous person, you're going to be a generous person with or without money. If you're a greedy person, You can be more greedy if there is money at stake. So it just brings it out. Parents had a hard time finding jobs. Oh, we didn't have much. That's because we went through this. All right. So the other thing we had with wealth, I already talked about, like, as parents get older and they became more poor. And then we talked about what you felt when I said the word wealth. And then we said wealthy people are, and so on and so forth. Stomach hurts. Like when you talk about wealth, it might be something that you see as something dangerous or that you fear in some way because it makes you a target. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Wealthy people are unreliable. So they might be a little squirrely because they can be. They don't have to be Johnny on the spot, because people, they have the money to pay somebody else to do it, or whatever the thinking is behind that. Or they feel like your time is not worth as much as their time. This person also felt nauseated, and someone else felt tingly. We have ambivalent feelings, depends on the people. When you talk about wealth and being wealthy, wealthy people are lucky but intimidating. That's an interesting one. We will definitely have to look at the intimidating aspect of that. So the next word we did was poor. And oddly enough, the first word that came up, and I don't know whether they meant to put it with poor or not, but I left it there, is proud. And I also know people, I have a friend specifically who's very proud of how thrifty she is, how little money she spends, and how little she does for herself, which is really, really to an extreme. So proud is an interesting word for that. Poor is familiar. To the statement, I am poor, not true. Poor makes you tired and sad. The poor are always scrambling to pay rent and eat. So they're looking for just the basics, like whatever the least thing is that they need to survive. That's where they are. They're in that survival state. One of you said my heart squeezed. I felt pulled down. And that goes with the tired and sad also. Abundant. So abundant energy going out. How do you get the abundance coming back, coming in? That's a good question. That's what we're going to be talking about. Abundant, happy. Yes, I am abundant. Happy and grateful for abundance. A lot of all that is great. Somebody wrote. And joyful. Abundance is joyful. Abundance is about balance. It's not just material things. That's a good one. Abundant good, that's what you want, is an abundance of all good things, because you can have an abundance of bad things too, or abundance of not pleasant things. This also made you feel tingly and expectant, happy. And this one I highlighted because I thought this was interesting. Abundant means have to worry it might end if you're not careful. So I'm going to say that again. Abundance means having to worry it might end if you're not careful. That is definitely something we will explore. Abundance means near the ocean, joyful, relaxed, but abundance can also be fearful. Again, a fear of losing things. And then we have lack, anxiety, so tired, not good, in despair. Lack is like a cancer. Lack sucks. I like that one. Lack was my experience most of my life, but I also saw it as a challenge, not to let it get in my way. Just enough usually showed up. So that's a good way of looking at things. And this is one of the things we're going to talk about is changing your perspective. Lack blocks you or it's blocked. It means that you're blocked. Money stolen from you, especially by taxes. And now we're in the new year, moving towards April in 4 months, but it's still, I dread doing taxes. Money can make you a target, which is true. How many times do we hear about people being burglarized or even murdered for their wealth? Difference between money earned working for yourself and for an employer, or money from a person you are dependent on. So it has a different vibe to it. Like people see, especially in this day and age, where there's a difference between if you're a housewife and your husband supports the family in that way, where he's the one who's out there working, like there's nothing is given to how much you have to work to keep the home, and raise children, or even like be that backup support person. And to me, that's like saying that, like in film, only the actors count. Like the playwright doesn't count, the grip doesn't count. All those people that you don't see that go into the making of that film, they don't need all those people. They just need the actors, which is the furthest thing from the truth. The easiest thing to replace is the actors when you're doing a film. So it's that acknowledgement that everything has worth. So I want to do one more word, and we're just going to do it real quick. I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you to say, I am worthy. How does that feel? I want you to put into the comments and into the chat, I am worthy. How does that make you feel? It's a very powerful statement. Oh, that's good. So I am here to tell you that you are worthy. And sometimes we say that we are because we know that that's what we're supposed to say, but we're not really feeling it internally. However, you are worthy. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. And what you need to do is we need to train our bodies to be comfortable with being worthy, having abundance, knowing that it's going to be there, and maybe not knowing how it's going to be there, because that's one of the biggest hurdles I see for people is they want something and they will make a plan and it's got to be exactly this way. And when things don't go exactly that way, then they feel like, well, they failed or it didn't, it's not going the way I expected it to. The thing is, money is energy, and energy is like water. It's going to find the path of least resistance. If you only focus on the money, like I usually say, you need $1,000 to get a bed. Back in the day, it was $500, $300. Now it's $1,000. You need $1,000 to get a really good bed, because that's really what you want. That's what you need, because you need to sleep properly and all that kind of good stuff. And you're only focusing on getting that money. What do you think happens when you get that money? It goes to something completely different. Your car breaks down, something else is going to happen, or it's going to take a while to get that money. It's going to take longer to get that money than it would have to get the bed. If you allow it to come however is easiest for the universe to bring it to you, then you tend to manifest more quickly. What I mean by that is we have to be open to however it presents itself. I remember when I was pregnant with my child many moons ago, and her father and I did not have a whole lot of cash flow, and we needed a bed because we did not have a bed, and we really needed a bed. That's probably why I use the bed analogy. And next thing I knew, we ended up with two beds. My sister gave us a queen size bed. It wasn't brand new, but it was comfy. And my boss gave us a bed, and it was a futon bed. Again, not the most comfortable thing in the world, but it was great because now we had this extra bed. And if anybody wanted to come and stay with us to help us out, we had the extra bed. So I didn't put anything on it. And I didn't put any rules around it that it's got to show up a certain way. So it just showed up. And it not only showed up once, it showed up twice to make sure that I had what I needed. So when you put rules around it, that it's got to be this way, I have to earn this money. I can't have somebody giving me, I don't accept charity. That's one of the biggest blocks to our abundance, is this thought that you don't accept charity, because if you don't accept charity, you're not accepting. We have to learn how to accept, how to receive. And for a lot of people, that's very difficult because you feel like you have to give more than you get and that kind of thing. No, it should be even. But I love the saying to pay it forward, because that's what the universe does. It parcels it out to who needs it and where can this go right now, as opposed to, well, I gave you $150 and you have to give me back $150 in 2 weeks. It's not like that. It's not that back and forth in that way. It's got to flow. But the thing is, we're all connected. So it can flow in any kind of a direction and then come back to you. It may come back to you at some later time. So working with all that is part of what we're trying to process here. Finding our worthiness, but also finding out what is stopping us from having a good relationship with money. I want you to try and think about money as a persona. And what we're going to do to be able to do that is I'm going to lead you through a little meditation where you're going to look at money as a persona. When we look at that, we're also going to talk about, we're going to have a conversation with our money, our financial persona, and ask, like, when did our problems start? Like, where do you think our problems started? When did we meet? Why is it that we feel this way about each other? And things like that, like you're talking to a person. And we're going to see in this little journey how much you can gain from just doing that little exercise, how much insight. And because we're doing it as a journey, it's something that you're going to be able to integrate a little bit more easily. Now, as I said, I will be having a full seminar next Wednesday, the 24th at 7 o'clock. That is a 4-fee class. And we will be going through and actually integrating these things and going through more of a process. This is just a taste to give you an idea of what your relationship is with money. And then when we do the processes, we'll be able to integrate a healthier relationship and help fix that relationship. So I want you all to get ready. If you're watching this on YouTube or any other service, you can put me on pause and go get some water, because it's always good to have water around, or a drink that is non-alcoholic, so that once we go through this process, you could take a drink and it's very refreshing. Okay. And here we go. Okay. So we are going to do a little journey where we are going to focus on different aspects. This is like a little mini taste of what the seminar will be like that we do next Wednesday. But I want you guys to figure out like what your relationship is and maybe what we need to do to solve that. So one of the things I didn't talk about yet that I probably will talk about after, but I want to show you guys what I'm using. So this is a golden calcite. It's one of my favorite stones. You can see the inner structure there. I've had this for a very, very long time. I don't even remember where I got it, but I know it's traveled the entire United States with me more than once because I use it often. And I use this on my solar plexus. So I don't know if you can see my solar plexus, or it's right here. So here's your ribs, where your ribs end, and it's right there is where I use it. That is your solar plexus chakra. And calcite helps align your chakras and align your energy so that things move more smoothly, no matter where you put it on your body and no matter what type of calcite you use. So if you have a blue piece, green, and it comes in so many different colors, white, black, red, orange, yellow, you got them all. So having a piece of calcite around is always good. I find it very calming for me. And you can look to see what gemstones are your favorites. I've gone through phases over time. I mean, I've always been into stones since the day I was born, I'm told. And I used to really love, no, Golden Healer is a little bit different. Golden Healer is different. Golden Healer, I have one. I'm going to put you on pause for a second so I go get it and show you. Hey, I'm back with my Golden Healer. So this is calcite and this is a Golden Healer. Now, if you could see, my light's pretty good. So you can see the way Golden Healer has more almost like fragmented. It's not necessarily a solid color. It does have inclusions, and that's what makes it the Golden Healer. I will do a video just on, gemstones and crystals that you could use to attract money or to help you with your money flow. This is the golden calcite. Okay. And Golden Healer. So put that back in his thingy. All right. Another one that is excellent that most people know is Fool's Gold Pyrite. I love this thing. Isn't that pretty? I love my pyrite. So pretty. So it's very heavy because it is metallic. But it's another good gemstone to work with when you're doing these types of meditations and journeys, and to focus on when you're doing things with money. And I'll go more into that in the class. There's several different stones you could use, and you just need to find which one you feel most comfortable with. And those are the stones that you end up using. Okay. All right. Now, if everyone get comfy, and I want you to take a deep breath. We're going to hold it and we're going to release it very slowly. And when we do that, what that does is it oxygenates your blood, which then helps your muscles to relax. It also is a sign to your physical body that it's okay to relax, that we are safe, that you're in a safe space, and that your whole body can relax. Okay, take a deep breath and release slowly. And again. And release slowly. There is a golden disc above us. It comes down to us. It surrounds us and protects us. It cleanses and clears all the energy around us. We stand in the center of the disc. And an angel walks towards us. They have a pitcher of golden white oil, and they pour it into our crown. The oil flows through us, filling us at the feet, up our calves, into our knees, and our thighs, into our hips and our waist, around all of our internal organs, up into the rib cage, past the heart, the lungs, filling the shoulders and the arms, down to the fingertips and back, up through the throat, past our mouths, and it flows back out through our crown as our entire physical, mental, emotional, and etheric bodies are filled with its essence. It pours over and around us. We can feel the warmth inside of us and in our skin. It gently washes away impurities. It gently cleanses us from the inside out. And as it pours along the floor and it fills the room around us, it cleanses all negativity. It fills every space. It brightens every darkness. It leaves everything sparkling and shining. Feel this warmth as it courses around inside you. As it gently cleanses and clears and removes all inconsistencies, all impurities. And the oil soaks in and becomes a part of all that it touched, shimmering and gleaming with golden white light. The angel retreats. And we move to the center of the room, our golden room. And there's a love seat and a lounge chair and a chase. And we choose our seat and we sit. We hear the door behind us open. And we look around to see who is walking closer. It is money personified. We stand up to greet and we look at them. Take careful measure. Are they large or small or the same size as you? Are they male or female or neither or both? What are they wearing, if anything? We motion to take a seat. And sit down ourselves, facing our companion. Let's have a conversation. It's been a while since we spoke. Take note of how you're feeling right now. Are you comfortable? Are you wary? Are you nervous? Excited? Anxious? Calm? Confident? And how does money look? Is it beautiful or scary? Is it speaking to you in harsh tones or not speaking to you at all? Is it singing to you, beckoning for a dance? Remember. Remember when you first met. Remember how you first learned about money. Go back to that place and time and remember, take note. How did you feel back then? How did money present itself? Was it through your parents, a grandparent? Did you have to earn it? Was it freely given? Was it attached to something? What was it attached to? When did you start interacting with money on your own? How did it treat you? Did it like to stay around? Was it always disappearing? Did it tease you or did it comfort you? Move into the time when you knew you had to generate your own money. Was that simple? Was it scary? Look at your companion and see how it is changing as you move through time and experience. Try to remember a good time you had together. How did that feel? Maybe it was your first paycheck or your first raise. Maybe it was the first big tip someone gave you. Maybe it was an unexpected inheritance or windfall. Maybe you won it. Ask your companion, ask them, what can I do to make you feel more comfortable so that you come visit me more often and don't leave quite so quickly? What can I do to make you feel more comfortable so that we can be around each other and have a better relationship? What do you need from me? What is stopping you from staying, dancing, flowing? It's time to go, but money doesn't want to. Money wants to stay with you. We'll see each other again very, very soon. You both stand and you walk your companion to the door from whence he came, and they stop at the door and they hug you with great affection. You feel yourself relax. Maybe you shed a tear. Maybe you back away. Maybe you hug them back. As they walk out the door, I want you to clasp your hands together and squeeze. Whenever you make this motion, I want you to be back in this room having a conversation with your money and remembering to ask what they need from you and what comes between you. Take a deep breath and relax. The disc seems to melt away into the floor, leaving a soft golden glow everywhere it touched. You see golden sparkles all around you, knowing that this is prosperity and it's just waiting for you to pick it up. Take a deep breath and release. Feel your body, your feet, and your hands Might want to move around a little bit. Come back. Take a nice drink to ground you. Take a moment and type up or write what you experienced in this little journey. Put it in the chat or in the comments. And when you're ready, we will continue. Okay, so I guess I should put my headset back on because otherwise you can't hear me. Okay, so we're done with that part. And questions you need to ask yourself is, what did you see? You want to write down how you felt, who you saw, any memories you had, and whatever came to you is correct. So don't feel like you weren't doing the right thing or didn't get the right thing because your experience was different. Everyone's experience is different. In today's class, we had someone who had images of sacred geometry. We had someone else who just had the sensation of the colors. We had somebody else who actually saw a figure. I saw farm animals at some point. So whatever it was that you experienced is what you need to experience and what we need to go through and look at. And the best way to do that is to write everything down now that you're done. And then step away from it for a second, look at it again, and do a little bit of wordplay with it. Sometimes when we do journeys, we will see things that we then need to interpret, or things that are akin to what it is we're supposed to be seeing. So you might see, just do word association. Like if you saw pennies from heaven, you're being divinely guided by somebody on the other side. Or maybe someone that you love dearly passed and left you a big inheritance. Or maybe, it's all these different things. You have to figure out what it means to you. You can speak to a practitioner like myself, and we can help you with that process. But remember, everyone is an individual. We each have our own way of looking at the world. And because of that, what we see is part of us. So it's not wrong, even if you feel like you didn't see anything. The other thing I want to tell you is that you should be aware that over the next several days, you may have dreams. Since we opened up this channel, you may have dreams where your money personified might be coming and speaking to you. So maybe you didn't get anything while you were in the process right there. Maybe you need to listen to it again where you can focus more. Maybe you need to listen to it as you're falling asleep. Or maybe you'll get more information over the next few days in your dreams or just popping into your head. Key is pay attention to it, write it down so that you have it and you don't forget it. And if you're going to really remember your dreams, one of the tips that I usually give to remember dreams, you tell yourself as you're falling asleep to remember your dreams. There's a little trick where you take, it should be water. This is tea. You take a little bit of water, you take a sip, and you say, as I sip this water, I will remember everything I dream tonight the next time I take a sip of water. And you leave the water beside your bed. Keep pen and paper there, or if you want to type it in your iPad or whatever. I don't like electronics in the bedroom. That's a whole nother story. And then when you wake up, take a breath, take a sip of water, and then write down everything that comes to you. Everything. Whether it sounds like it means anything or not, whether it makes sense to you or not, just write it down. And then you can go back to it and look and see, where the messages are. So that is finding out our relationship with money. I hope you enjoyed today. And our class is on the 24th. If you go to my website, GeralynSt.Joseph.com, there is a page where you could go and make your payment. And once you make the payment, it should send you to the Zoom sign up. If it does not, then email me. Or if you're in Meetup, there is a link to the page on Meetup so that you can sign up and make your payment there. All righty. It's been fascinating and fun as always. I thoroughly enjoy bringing this information to light and helping as many people as I can. This is my livelihood. So if you find it in your heart or you start making more money, please give us a donation so that we can continue doing things for free. The class on Wednesday is a for-fee class, and it is $75. It will probably be about 3 hours long. If I may have to do it on a Saturday also. So if you would prefer a Saturday, please email me and let me know, and that way I can schedule that. Have a great night and a good time. Like and subscribe. Leave your questions and your comments down below, wherever you're seeing this. Say hello. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Mahalo. This is Geralyn St. Joseph signing off.